You're standing at the spice counter when your eyes catch a tiny jar of red threads. The label says, Saffron. They look like dyed, dried blades of grass, so delicate that even a light breath feels like it could lift them. Then you see the price, and it makes you freeze. Your brain asks, what is this, really? Why do a few threads of dry grass cost so much? So much that they're even called the most expensive spice in the world. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what gives saffron its value, and you'll have a 5-second rule to avoid buying fake saffron. Let's get into it right here on Secrets of Simple Things. Three threads, one flower. Despite the way it's sold, saffron isn't a seed or a leaf or a bark. It comes from a flower, Crocus sativus, the saffron crocus. The flower itself is almost modest pale purple petals, a yellow center, nothing that screams luxury. The luxury is hidden inside. Each bloom carries 3 tiny red stigmas. Those 3 delicate threads are saffron, not the stem, not the petals, not the whole blossom, just 3 strands. Once you notice that, the price begins to feel less like a scam and more like math, because 3 threads per flower means you need an unbelievable number of flowers to make a meaningful amount of spice. A common estimate is around 150,000 flowers for 1 kilogram of dried saffron. And if that number feels impossible, the harvest will explain why. The 2-week sprint done by hand. Growing saffron is one of the most labor-intensive harvests, not because farmers aren't trying to modernize it, but because the saffron plant doesn't cooperate well with machinery. First, saffron blooms for a very short window, about 2 weeks each year, usually in autumn. In many growing regions, fields turn purple almost overnight, then fade just as quickly. Farmers don't get a leisurely season. They get a brief race. Second, the flowers are delicate. They're often harvested at dawn, when the air is cool and the petals are still tight, because sunlight and heat can reduce quality. So, the work begins when most kitchens are still asleep. Then comes the part that sounds simple until you imagine repeating it tens of thousands of times. Each flower is picked by hand. Each flower is opened by hand. And each flower yields only 3 threads that must be removed gently, without crushing them, without losing them, without mixing in the wrong parts of the plant. After that, the threads are dried under controlled conditions. Drying isn't just making it last. Drying is where aroma develops, where color stabilizes, where saffron becomes saffron instead of wet plant tissue. Too much heat and you scorch it. Too little and you dull it. Every step is fussy, repetitive, and human. This is why saffron is expensive even before it reaches a market. You're not paying for a glamorous ingredient. You're paying for mornings, for careful fingers, for time concentrated into grams. Saffron isn't expensive because it's fancy. It's expensive because it's slow. But labor explains the price. Chemistry explains the obsession. Color, aroma, taste in 3 compounds. Saffron has a strange power. A few threads can change an entire pot. That isn't marketing, it's chemistry. Its famous golden color comes from crocin, a pigment so strong that a pinch can tint rice, broth, or milk into a warm yellow glow. The scent, often described as honeyed, hay-like, and slightly floral, comes largely from saffronol, which forms during drying. And the faint bitterness, the edge that keeps saffron from tasting merely sweet, comes from picrocrocin. Together, those compounds create a signature sensory profile that's difficult to imitate. Many ingredients can add yellow color. Many ingredients can add aroma. But the exact combination golden color plus that particular warm scent plus that gentle bitterness belongs to saffron. That's why traditional dishes don't treat saffron like a garnish. They treat it like identity. Remove it, and the dish becomes something else. And this identity is not new. Humans have been chasing it for a very long time. A spice that traveled like treasure. Saffron is ancient. Evidence suggests people were using it more than 3,500 years ago. It appears across civilizations not as a casual seasoning, but as something symbolic: medicine, perfume, dye, luxury. It shows up in ancient Persian traditions, in Egyptian perfumes, in Greek texts, in Roman cooking. Stories cling to it the way fragrance clings to cloth. Cleopatra is said to have bathed in saffron-infused water before meeting lovers, believing it enhanced beauty and desire. Whether or not every detail is true, the story tells you what saffron meant: status, ritual, power. In medieval Europe, saffron's value created paranoia and protection. Shipments were guarded. Laws were written to punish fraud. At times, people fought over stolen saffron because it was the kind of cargo that could finance a life. During the Black Death, saffron was used as medicine. Modern science tells us it could not cure plague, but the fact that people reached for it anyway shows how deeply they trusted rare things when fear was everywhere. As trade expanded, saffron followed the Silk Road and Mediterranean shipping lanes into European markets. By the Middle Ages, it was among the continent's most valuable imports. During the Renaissance, Spain became a major producer, refining cultivation and drying practices that shaped saffron's reputation for quality. Today, the roots have changed, but saffron is still shaped by geography. Same flower, different fingerprints. Modern saffron is the result of centuries of cultivation and trade, but production is not evenly distributed. Today, more than 85% of the world's saffron is produced in Iran, where climate and farming traditions suit the crocus well. Other important producers include India, especially Kashmir, as well as Spain, Afghanistan, Greece, and Morocco. These regions can produce saffron with subtly different personalities. Soil, altitude, and drying methods can shift the balance between color, aroma, and bitterness. Kashmir saffron is often praised for deep color. Spanish saffron is often associated with a balanced aroma. But across regions, the rules of quality stay stubbornly similar: hand harvest, careful drying, tight control. You can't mass-produce patience. And wherever patience becomes expensive, counterfeits become profitable. A few threads that change the whole dish. Despite its price, saffron is not a museum piece. It's still essential in many cuisines because nothing else does exactly what it does. It defines Spanish paella, where the rice carries a golden hue that feels like sunlight made edible. It's central to Italian risotto, where aroma matters as much as texture. It appears in Persian cooking, in Indian biryani, in French bouillon-based dishes, where saffron isn't just a note, it's the signature. Outside the kitchen, saffron has been used in perfumes and textiles for centuries. It appears in traditional medicine, and modern supplements sometimes market it for mood, memory, or inflammation. It isn't a miracle cure, and it doesn't need to be. What keeps saffron relevant is performance. A small amount can transform color, aroma, and flavor in ways that feel unmistakable. In most kitchens, saffron is measured in pinches, not spoonfuls. A recipe might use 10 or 20 threads, which means a small jar can last months. That's another reason the price feels surreal. You're paying for something tiny, but you're also buying many meals' worth of color and aroma. The economy of saffron is microscopic. It asks you to cook the way earlier generations cooked, carefully, with restraint, and with attention to what a little can do. That performance is also why saffron is one of the most faked spices in the world. the impostors that look convincing. When the real thing is this valuable, imitation becomes a business. Some sellers bulk up saffron with dyed corn silk, shredded paper, marigold petals, or other plant fibers tinted to look red. Others sell safflower or turmeric under confusing labels because the colors can trick hurried buyers. In the worst cases, fake threads can even be made from synthetic material. The reason this works is simple. People shop with their eyes. Red threads in a jar look believable. And most of us don't have enough experience to know what we're supposed to smell or how real saffron behaves in water. So the goal isn't paranoia. The goal is one calm check you can do in any kitchen. The 5-second rule to spot real saffron. Here's the 5-second rule. Drop a few threads into warm water and watch. Real saffron releases a golden color slowly, like ink spreading through paper, while the threads keep their red shape. If the water turns bright immediately, or the threads lose their color too fast, be suspicious. Then use your nose. Real saffron smells complex, slightly sweet, warm, hay-like, not sharp or chemical. And if you look closely, genuine threads often have a slight trumpet shape at one end rather than perfectly straight, machine-cut pieces. That's it. 5 seconds of attention can save you from paying gold prices for dyed theater. And once you can trust what you're buying, the price starts telling a different story. Labor. Compressed into threads. Saffron's value isn't a marketing trick. It's a physical fact. 3 threads per flower. A harvest window measured in weeks. Fields picked at dawn. Hands opening blossoms one by one. Threads dried carefully so color, aroma, and taste survive the journey. In a world built on shortcuts, saffron refuses to be rushed. It stays stubbornly handmade. It stays slow. And that slowness is exactly what you taste when a few threads turn an ordinary pot of rice into something luminous. So the next time you see that tiny jar and feel your brain flinch at the price, remember what you're really looking at. Not just spice, but human time made edible. If this changed how you see saffron, tell me in the comments what dish would you use it for first. And if you enjoy uncovering the quiet stories hidden inside everyday ingredients, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next small secret.